The truth is quite simple. But what takes so long is all the confusion and the misunderstanding that has to be undone, not just in terms of our intelligence, but in terms of our emotion and how we react. So that's what takes time. The actual So I'll start. Did I start recording? I did. Okay. So I was just amusing myself, thinking, in what way, like when a person first begins this meditation lark, in what way do they differ from somebody who's been at it for a while? And because both of them experience the same cinema in their heads, similar display. It might be a slightly different movie, but it's the same stuff, Soap operas, it's all the same. So what's the difference, So a beginner tries. Like, where is the meditative experience? How do I get that, How can I go there, How can I make that happen, And as you sit there with that kind of approach, it may strike you that everything is just getting worse. Why? Because what you're doing is you're stirring up your mind. You're stirring up the muddy depths of mind. And there's all kinds of debris settled there. So on the other hand, an experienced person doesn't try. The display is left just as it is. It's actually as easy as that. But how do you do that? How do I deal with this or that scene, in my head? An unpleasant memory, How do I deal with that? How can I placate these thoughts? What is wisdom? Wisdom is seeing things as they are. Especially we're talking about seeing the nature of things.
Martin, I think you're freezing every now and again. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear you, Cecily.
You were freezing momentarily on and off.
Okay.
We heard how to placate the thoughts, memories, and feelings, and then the next thing I heard was wisdom, but I didn't hear. I think you were saying something in between.
Okay. No, I didn't really. I hope I didn't. Basically, that we deal with all this disturbance with wisdom. And so what is wisdom? Wisdom is seeing things as they are, especially the nature of things. So what do we mean about that? In other words, what the thoughts, the memories, the feelings and so on, what are they made of? What is their essence? This is how...
You're frozen again.
Yeah.
Interpreting, whatever thought or memory comes up, is not you're interpreting it and saying, oh, that's empty, or that's, now I'm fixating, That's not what wisdom is.
Martin, you were frozen again for a couple of instants there.
There's nothing I can do about it, love.
Okay.
Maybe make a little note, and if there's anything missing, I'll clarify. How's that? Did
I'm
you hear
making
that?
it out. It'll probably, will it record you anyway?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, grand. Okay.
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay. I try to just put a mark at the side of your notes that I have.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So wisdom is actually knowing directly the nature of things. It's not interpretive. You're not interpreting, you're not running a commentary on what's happening in your mind. It's knowing in your gut, in your being. It's knowing the nature of things. And one of the things you discover is that thoughts themselves do not cause disturbance. They are simply empty appearances. It's our fixation on them, our reactions. That's where this disturbance comes. That is the wisdom, to know that. And when you know that, it changes everything. And the example I think of is that, it's like watching a movie or a DVD, The beginner gets completely sucked in, you know. The more experienced person, not only do they enjoy the movie, but they can appreciate the quality of the acting, the lighting, the way the scenes were arranged, the way the shots were arranged, how it was edited. It's actually a fuller experience. It's not a more limited experience. It's a fuller experience, but not sucked in. And then sometimes as a beginner, I know, let me see. Okay. I know someone who would like this part, Then, as a beginner, you're sitting there, you might hear a whispered question. Where are you? Mouth slightly open. Your back relaxedly straight and gazing into space. There isn't any reference point, so don't bother looking for one. It's just open. Same old display, same old nonsense. It doesn't change. But we remain in the openness, present, wakeful awareness, which is why the eyes are open. So we're not creating some mental state. It's very natural. Just open. Not trying to make something. It's already made. It's already fully cooked. This natural, this free and open natural state. This natural state isn't sustained by anything. You don't have to sustain anything. You just rest. You don't get stuck anywhere. Just open. Everything flowing. It's natural.